Alright guys, so I'm back yet again with another deck profile from Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days on the Nintendo Switch. So this time we'll be doing version 1 of our Stoicheia Magnolia Elder deck, which of course as always version 1 is everything up through the first additional card pass, so 30D booster set 7. And as you can see here, this is the second different variation of Magnolia that we are doing. I already have a video up on my grade 3 variant of Magnolia that focuses on persona riding, so you can go check out that video if you want to. But this is the more, I guess, traditional build of Magnolia that focuses on the grade 4 Magnolia Elder. So as always, we will go through the deck real fast and then we'll show it in one card fight so you can see it in action. So starting off as always with the ride deck, it is the same ride deck as our grade 3 variant. So our grade 0 starter is 7-Horn Beast Lote. So when this unit is rode upon, if you win second, draw a card. Same starter skill we always have. Next up, our grade 1 is 7-Horn Beast Chorus. So his auto ability, when this unit is rode upon by 7-Horn Beast Lattice, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a grade 2 or less unit card, call it the rearguard circle, and if it isn't, put it into your soul. So then he also has a continuous ability when he's on back row rearguard circle that says during the battle this unit attacked, this unit gets power plus 5,000. So the first ability is a top deck call. It is kind of luck based. You might call something good, or you might call something you don't want to call, like your triggers or perfect guards or what have you. So it's just kind of luck of the draw on that. And then its second skill lets it power up if it's attacking from the back row. Which once again, this deck is focused entirely around making your back row units into attackers. And like before, this is the only copy of this card we're running in the deck. We don't have any extras in the main deck. But we do have a way to get it out onto rearguard through Magnolia Elder. Its first skill lets you superior call something from your soul. So if you put this on rearguard, it can gain a power up. So next, our grade 2 is 7-Horn Beast Lattice. So his auto ability, when this unit is rode upon by 7-Horn Beast King Magnolia, you can Soul Blast 1, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a unit card, call it the rearguard circle, and if it isn't, put it into your hand. And then another auto ability, when he's on back row rearguard circle, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1, and this unit gets power plus 10,000 until end of that battle. So this card is pretty much a slightly stronger version of Chorus. The first skill is again a top deck call, so you might get something good, you might not. And the second skill is another power up skill. It does cost a Soul Blast, so a little more resource heavy, but also a little bit more power as well. So then our grade 3 is 7-Horn Beast King Magnolia. So his auto ability, at the end of the battle this unit attacked, you can counterblast 1 to choose one of your rear guards, and until end of turn, that unit can attack from the back row and gets power plus 5,000. And then if you persona road this turn, you can choose 3 rear guards instead of 1. So we are only running the one copy of Magnolia in the deck, so it's not possible to get that persona ride. So you will only be able to choose one of your back row rear guards. But that doesn't matter too much because you're only going to be on this for one turn anyway. Because after that you'll be riding into the grade 4 form of Magnolia. Which, speaking of which, moving on to our main deck, starting with the grade 4s. We have 4 copies of 7-Horn Beast Emperor Magnolia Elder. So his auto ability, when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, choose a card from your soul and you may call it the rearguard circle. So that's the ability I mentioned before. You can call out something from your soul. Helps fill in your field. And then he also has a continuous ability when he's on Vanguard Circle. If you have one or more cards in your soul or on your rearguard circle with Magnolia in their card names, all of your rearguards can attack and intercept from the back row and get power plus 5,000. So he turns your entire back row into attackers while also powering up all of your rearguards, both front row and back row. It also lets your grade 2s still intercept from the back row. So if you call them back there to be attackers, you can still potentially use them as defensive units. And it doesn't cost a counterblast like the grade 3 Magnolia does, so it's also less resource heavy. And of course, being a grade 4, he inherently has triple drive, so you get 3 chances for triggers every time you attack with him as well. So very, very cool card. So that's the only grade 4 in the deck. Moving on to the grade 3s, we are running 3 copies of Sylvan Beast Tigralta. So his auto ability, when he's on front row rearguard circle, when your other unit in the same column as this unit attacks, that unit gets power plus 10,000 until end of that battle. So pretty simple card, he just powers up the one behind him when he attacks. I like pairing him with Gionosla, because that way that gives Gionosla even more power that he can then pass to someone else. So Tigralta basically ends up powering up 2 of your units by 10k for no cost. So pretty useful. And that's actually all of our grade 3s as well, so moving on to the grade 2s, speaking of which, we have 4 copies of Sylvan Beast Gionosla. So his auto ability on back row rearguard circle, when this unit attacks, you can counterblast 1 to choose one of your other rearguards, and it gets this unit's power until end of turn. So very strong card. He can attack and boost basically in the same turn, being able to pass his power to anyone else on your field. And you can get Gionosla's power up pretty high, between Elder giving him an extra 5. Any trigger checks you get, you can put onto him. Again, if you pair him with Tigralta, that gives him an extra 10k. So Gionosla can get pretty high himself, and then he can pass all that power to someone else. So you get potentially 2 very strong attacks every turn. So next we are running 3 copies of Sylvan Beast Gabreg. So his auto ability, when your other unit in the same column as this unit attacks, you can Soul Blast 1, and this unit gets power plus 10,000 until end of turn. Then you choose all your opponent's rearguards, and for the battle that this unit attacked this turn, your opponent cannot call cards with the same grade as the chosen units from their hand to Guardian Circle. So, again, he powers himself up, and he's got a guard restrict. So, this is another very good card to pair with Gionosla. If you pass the power on to him, he can hit a really high number and have the guard restrict on top of it. Now, it is dependent on what grades your opponent has called out onto their field, which most decks don't really call grade 0s very often. So very rarely will you be able to block their trigger units with this card. But if they have a grade 1 out, then you can block their sentinels, and that alone can be pretty effective. So next we are running 2 copies of Sylvan Beast Giraffina. So its auto ability, when this unit is placed on your back row rearguard circle, you may have this unit get power plus 10,000 until end of turn. And if you do, this unit cannot be moved to another rearguard circle until end of turn. So if you call him to your back row, he does get a free 10k. Now that's only for the first turn, so after that he'll be a vanilla 10k. But with Elder skill, letting him intercept from the back row, the main idea with this card is to just call it to your back row, let him gain power, attack with it, and then during your opponent's turn you can intercept it away and call something better the next turn. So next we are running 3 copies of Sylvan Beast Bogelcorn. So he's got an activate ability that lets you counterblast 1, and until end of turn this unit gets a continuous ability that's active when he's on back row rearguard circle. That says, when this unit would attack, this unit battles all of your opponent's front row units. So this card can attack their entire front row at once, which the way that works is they have to guard for each attack target separately. So if they call a Guardian and assign it to their Vanguard, that'll protect their Vanguard but not their rearguards. So no matter what they do, this card is going to be costing them a lot of cards, either by taking out their rearguards or forcing them to use up a lot of their hand to block 3 separate attacks, basically. So this is just a very good card in order to try to deplete your opponent's resources as fast as possible. And also, if they have any interceptors, since they would become attack targets, they won't be able to intercept either. So next we're running 2 copies of Sylvan Beast Inpix. So his continuous ability, when he's on back row rearguard circle, this unit gets power plus 10,000, and if you have 3 or less rearguards, all of your rearguards in the same column as this unit cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects. So the protection skill is okay. It's not the best thing in the world. It only protects 2 of your units at the most. And of course, if you have more than 3 rear guards, they could always just pick him off first, and then the rest of your field will be vulnerable. So the protection skill is kind of situational. We're mainly just playing him for the extra 10k, because he is an 8k base, but with that 10k and then the 5k you get from Magnolia Elder, he'll be at 23 on his own, which will be enough to hit past 1 damage trigger. So he can be a good attacker in that situation. So then lastly, for our grade 2s, we do have 2 copies of Sylvanhorn Beast Alpin. So his auto ability, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Magnolia in its card name, this unit gets power plus 5,000 until end of that battle for every 2 of your grade 2 or greater units. And if this unit gets power plus 10,000 or more by this effect, at the end of that battle, you can bind this unit to countercharge 1 and soul charge 1. So this is your resource recovery card. Now this deck isn't as resource heavy as the grade 3 variant of the deck was, especially on the counterblast side. The soul blast can get a little bit steep since lattice cost 1 and then Magnolia Elder calls 1 from your soul. So between them, if you use Gabreg a little bit, you can run out of soul. So the soul charge kind of helps more than the counter charge in most instances, but you do get both for just binding this unit. So it's there if you need the extra resources. So that's all of our grade 2s. Moving on to the grade 1s. First of all, we do have 1 copy of Sylvanhorn Beast Lemuria. So his auto ability when he's on front row rearguard circle says when your other rearguard attacks until end of turn, this unit gets power plus 5,000, and then you can counterblast 1 and it gets an additional power plus 5,000. So I don't think I've ever used the counterblast for this card a single time. You usually have better things to spend that on. But he gains 5k without using any cost. So if you attack with him last, then he basically gets a free extra 20k. So on Magnolia Elder turns, he'll be sitting at 30k on his own without any outside contribution. So he can just be a really good beat stick. So next we are running 1 copy of Sylvanhorn Beast Alvin. So his continuous ability when he's on back row rearguard circle says during the battle that this unit attacked, when your opponent would call cards from their hand to guardian circle, they must call 2 or more at the same time. So he's just got a simple guard restrict, but you know, with Elder skill giving him the extra 5k, he will be at 13,000, which will be just enough to poke your opponent's Vanguard. So it is pretty funny to just poke them with this and force them to waste 2 cards to block it, potentially. So he can just be an annoying card to make them waste resources. And also he's got really cute artwork. So next for our grade 1s, we do have our Sentinels. So we are running 4 copies of Planar Prevent Dragon, which we are not running Elementaria Sanctitude in this deck, since Sanctitude only works if your Vanguard is grade 3 or lower. So once you ride into Elder, that card will be useless. So we are just running the 4 copies of the basic Perfect Guard. And then lastly for our grade 1s, we do have 1 copy of our normal order, In Search of an Ideal Far Away. So it has no cost to play it, but its ability lets you choose one of your units, and until end of turn, it gets an auto ability that's active on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle that says when your other unit attacks, this unit gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. So this is just a power-up card. I am mostly just playing this because I really like the artwork for it. But you can combo this with Gionosla, and if you attack with him next to last, then he can get a free extra 20k that he can then pass to whoever your last attacker is going to be. So powering up 2 of your units by 20k. Alternatively, if you don't have Gionosla out, you can just target whoever you're going to attack with last and give them an extra 25k. So, pretty cool power-up card. Not really necessary, though. So, that's all the grade 1s. Moving on to the grade 0s, we do just have our trigger lineup, which is 7 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal, and 1 over. So same trigger lineup as the grade 3 variant of the deck. So first off with the critical triggers, we have 3 copies of Sylvanhorn Beast Jackalope. So just your vanilla crit. Additionally, we have our 4 copies of Aspiring Maiden Alana. So at the end of the battle it boosted, you can put into your soul and give someone plus 2k. Again, this is mostly just here if you accidentally superior call it off of your ride line. You have a way to turn it into a resource to get rid of it instead of just calling something over top of it. Next, for the draw triggers, we have 4 copies of Serene Maiden Lena. So this is your 10k shield draw trigger, definitely the one you want to use for the extra guard power. And then for our heals, we have 4 copies of Sylvanhorn Beast's Zlatarog. So it's just the vanilla heal, that's always if you want to run the effect once you can. And then lastly, our over trigger is Source Dragon Deity of Blessings Blessed Favor. So his additional effect, draw a card, choose one of your units, it gets critical +1 till end of turn. All of your front row units get power plus 10,000, and if your damage zone has the same number of cards as your opponent's or more, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. So it's a crit, draw, front, and heal, all rolled into one. Very, very powerful over trigger. So that is the deck. So we will go ahead and play our one fight with it. We'll fight Zaxa, I guess. And we will be going first.
Stand up, Vanguard.
Alright, so we'll drop Gabreg to ride. And then we can just end our turn. And we'll let that through. And we'll let that through too. And we get a heal trigger, which we do get. Alright, so let's drop Inpix, I guess, to ride Lattice. Then we can use Karis' skill to call Gabreg. Alright, so we got a good call out of it. And then I think I'll just go ahead and attack with Lattice first. So then we can attack with Gabreg. And he guards. So now his world becomes Dark Knight, thanks to his world order, and he gets to call a Shadow Army token. And we'll let that through. And we'll let that through too. He gets a crit trigger. So that'll put us to 4. Oh, maybe not. We got another heal trigger. So we'll get to heal 1. And we got another heal trigger. Alright. We're gonna get all our heals. So now his Bubble Mine won't be able to hit us at all. Okay, so let's drop... We'll drop that crit, I guess. Ride Magnolia. Then we can use Lattice's skill to Soul Blast. And Superior Call our Perfect Guard. Oh well. Got a not so good call that time. But we can call Tigralta from our hand. As well as Geonosla. And I think we'll stop there. So we will just go ahead and attack with Magnolia first. We get a draw trigger. So give that power to Geonosla. Then we can use Magnolia's skill to counterblast. And we can give Geonosla the ability to attack from the back row. So next we'll attack with Tigralta. Then we'll attack with Geonosla, which triggers both their abilities. Now you want to resolve Tigralta's first to give the extra 10k to Geonosla, and then resolve Geonosla's to counterblast and pass all that power to Gabrig. And then we can attack with Gabrig. And he lets that through too. He gets a draw trigger. But we've got him to 5 before he even hits grade 3. And now his world becomes Abyssal Dark Knight. And his set order lets him power up any Shadow Army tokens he calls this turn. So let's see. He's got 3 set orders, so he's going to get 4 attacks because he'll be able to Superior Call a Shadow Army token during his battle phase. So we just need 5 to block this. Let's see, we'll block it with... Let's see, I'm planning out my next turn here. We got Gerafina and Limarea to call, and then we can call one from our soul when we ride. So, yeah, we can intercept with Gabrig.
Vanguard にアタック。シャドウアーミートークンをコール。スペリオルコールパワープラス。スキル発動。スキル発動。
And yeah, he's actually only going to get 3 attacks this turn because he put that behind his Bubble Mine so Bubble Mine could hit something. So, yeah, he's only getting 3 this turn. But this one's really big, so we'll let this one through.
ドライブチェックだよ。ドライブチェックだよ。 さよならだ。まだよ。ダメージチェック。ヴァンガードにアタック。
And we'll let that one through too.
まだよ。ダメージチェック。ドロートリガー。
We get a draw trigger.
パワープラス。
Draw over trigger. Eh.
私のターン。ドロー。
Alright, so now we can ride
重角重点マグノリアエルダーライド。
our grade 4 Magnolia Elder
マグノリアエルダーのスキル。
and use his ability to superior call one from our soul. So we'll call out Lattice,
スペリオルコール。
and then we can call Limarea from our hand,
コールだ。
as well as Giraffina, who will call over top of that Perfect Guard,
スキル発動。
and then use its ability to gain an extra 10k. And I think we are good to go. So we will attack with Magnolia
ヴ
first.
ァンガードにアタック。
Any gods?
ガードだよ。ドライブチェック。ドライブチェック。ドライブチェック。
So next we'll attack with... let's see, we'll attack with Tigralta,
ヴァンガードにアタックだ。
which will trigger Limarea's skill to gain 5k.
パワープラス。
And we can Counter Blast to gain another 5k, but we're not going to.
ガードだよ。
So then we'll attack with
ヴァン
Giraffina,
ガードにアタックだ。
which again triggers Limarea's skill.
パワープラス。
Any Perfect Guards.
スキル発動。完全ガードだよ。
So then we'll attack with
ヴァン
Gianosla,
ガードにアタックだ。
which triggers everyone's skill at once. So we'll do Limarea's to power him up yet
パワ
again.
ープラス。
And then Tigralta's
スキル発動。
to power up
パワ
Gianosla.
ープラス。
And then Gianosla's
スキル発動。
to pass his power to Lattice.
プラス。ノーガードだよ。やら
And he has to let it through.
ダメージチェック。
And we got him with that one.
私の勝ちね。
Alright, so there you go. That was our Magnolia Elder deck. Very, very cool deck. So, I'll be back soon with more deck profiles. We have 2 different variants of Nirvana coming up as well, actually. So, until then, I guess that's all for this video. So, lots of luck to you and yours.